Hi to society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out Tower of God Season 2, Episode 22. We are getting closer and closer to the end. We had a little bit of a rallying cry in the last episode of us all coming together and deciding, yes, we are going to save our friend. And most important of all, Khun's hair is back to the color that it should be. I can't tell you how much more comfortable I feel as just a watcher of this series to not have to look at Khun with a warm tone blonde hair. It's just wrong, okay? He deserves cool tones. Anyway, excited to get back into the swing of all of the craziness that is about to happen as we get to the end of the workshop battles. In 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, this is such a chaotic lineup, and then there's... Hang on. Dramatic. The, like, choir music. Rescue... The voice actor for Rock, though. Just noise into the void. No parallels here to previous traumas. Don't worry about it. I mean, what a way to start off with the, like, choir music and everything. But you know what? I'm excited to see if maybe we get something animation-wise. Maybe at the end. I don't know. What else are they going to use the budget for? I haven't actually looked it up yet. Are we getting another season? Or is it a little bit up in the air? Because I know that it's been riddled with a few production things, right? Obviously, with it being a, like, Crunchyroll, right, original, and then that being a little bit of a never the most stable of production things. I don't actually know if there's any conversation about there actually being a season 3 other than I'm assuming it's gonna leave open for that possibility because the story isn't done. And when have we actually gotten endings to stories when things get canceled? They usually just stop, right? I don't know, just curious. Sorry, just like Bob's little smile in the opener just reminds me that we're gonna get the cute smile moment at the end. You know, at the end of all things. There's a lot of other things that have to go down before that, but eventually I'm gonna get a cute smile from him. Just the facial expressions take me out. Oh yeah, he does headbutt. Yeah, he was looking forward to being able to make some barbecue. Like, what did they say? What a chaotic lineup. Very volatile from, like, all directions. Ooh, right. Hey. Chibi is his chosen lifestyle, and I would like you to respect it. Thank you. I think that we getting a chibi rock is like one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And the fact that it's voluntary makes me even happier. Like, that's why he's my boy. He's the boy. Top of the pyramid. Wow. What a very stagnant frame way of describing this important information as. Sorry, I just noticed that they're putting, like, the shaky cam on it. Like, that's gonna make it more interesting. I see what you're trying to do, animation team. You're doing the best with what you got. And I'm sorry. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just gator things. Oh yeah. Right. No, there's still some nightmares about this. Look, just as someone who like has some medical anxiety, it's a lot for you to just be like, it's fine. Gee, he's never had to behave like a puppet before in his life. What a new concept for him. Yeah. Well, I don't know if we'd say he's perfectly fine, but he is no different from baseline. Yeah. This is his truest form. Well, I argue that the chibi might be his truest form from like the heart. It's a good distraction. How did I manage to make him look smug? The fact that Rock's like, I'm just going to grab him by the throat and then he won't be able to eat these flames. Blunt but effective. Yes, get the name right. Remember it. He really is just like a supervillain waiting to happen. Technically, but also no. Because, like, Violet, no. But, like, technically, yes. I remember that line from the webtoon. I'm like, I mean, eh, great. I love that it's like they are friends, but then, like I was saying, I'm like, yes, but also no. Like, they're not friends with Violet because Violet is, against the families, right? And then he isn't the right turtle. I mean, he does technically want to be left behind so he could fight people. I mean, the power of friendship has gotten them pretty far, depending on the storyline. The voice actor's having so much fun. Also, a few enemies along the way, but that's not important. Look, an enemy is just a friend you need to fight to the death first. If I've learned anything from Shonen. His powers deserved better. Voice actor still having fun though. No comment. You can't get anything out of us. That's the spirit. It's not gonna work right away, but like that's the spirit. Waiting for Rachel never turns out well for us. What a great way to introduce yourself, though. To be like, I wanted to speak to you before the end. And, like, you could say that it's just, like, the end of the workshop battles or whatever. But, like, it's such a great, like, blasé threat. Oh, there's definitely a new era. There's so much going on. Look, the webtoon's stressing me out. There are always plans within plans within plans within plans. Yeah. No, this requires the choir music dramatically going in the back. This freaks me out. The, like, I don't know, bejeweled skeleton thing. Good luck with that. Only as good as the people you surround yourself with. There's always more traps, if I've learned anything about the tower. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Surprisingly. I love that he's like, I'm gonna punch it. Look, I don't want to harp on it, but there are some weird editing choices in this of like directionality, and maybe it's just because of my like performance days where I'm like, you need continuity in like keeping track of the directions. Like I noticed it before we had the one shot with like Wangnan and then Khun where they were like facing opposite directions, and I'm like, they're traveling together in the same direction though. And then this was like the door. The way that the camera swung was like framing it to like the left side of the screen, and then Novik ran like it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. He should have gone in the like other direction. Anyway, I don't think I'm describing it well. Like pointing it out on like screen stuff, but there's a little bit of weird continuity with it. Sorry. It's look, the animation on this episode has been spotty, which is kind of I get it because there is a bunch of like fighting happening, but also because there's a bunch of fighting happening, I notice it more. See, like all of this should have way more impact. And maybe like I know some of that's just like that I already know what's happening. So it doesn't like hit me as much. We get like reveals and all of that, but it should definitely it should feel like it has more weight behind it. Yeah, I'd be scared too. It's complicated. Boys, that's some foreshadowing of some things that are gonna be going on. Ugh. I mean, considering like there are a bunch of people who are like, we knew exactly what was happened. And it wasn't like great for a bomb, right? That it's it kind of puts to the forefront where he has some issues later. And also here. Yes. Reunion. And you can fully see his eyes again, so you know he means it. I think it's interesting that we're having all these like paths talked about though, like in the dialogue. Because this is like very much like a kind of defining moment for a lot of the characters, right? Like not just in terms of like main cast and like Bomb and like deciding that he's gonna be with his friends and not be like I'm saying we have the like basically like a puppet, right? We're talking like Beta, right? So it's not just about kind of our main people getting defined by a lot of stuff, but there's also like lots of other things, right? Like the workshop battles, like workshop experiments continue to be a thing. The way that people align themselves during this become a thing. The way that the like contained information of this whole thing going down and the rumors thereafter is also like has these ripple effects going forward, right? So like so much of what happens at this point determines what's going to be happening later in the story. Sorry, we just got to deal with some giant robots for a sec. I mean, he seemed to be doing okay, all things considered. Oh, they've been playing for this. You're gonna have to do better than that. Yeah, I was like, which technically makes sense. I really liked this, honestly. I liked the twist of this, of him being like, he's technically a weapon now, right? So he counts as like an item for item summoning. But I thought it was so great to have that after we had the story with Beta, right? Of like this idea of someone being able to be integrated into the game and like skirt the rules, right? Based on like how they qualified right before that, right? Because he has like the parasite. And then we have, with Bomb and the weapons. Look at the cutie pie. Yeah, it was like this is also kind of the time when like Team Sweet and Sour gets to see what he's like a little bit softer, because before he was like, I can't have friends. Right. Oh yeah, the trauma. Because we can't have nice things. What a way to end the episode, though. I'm gonna be honest, this episode was boring, and I feel so sad because there's so many cool things happening, right? There are so many cool things wrapped up in this part of the story. Reading through the webtoon, there's definitely some awesome things. Like I was saying, there were some things that were foreshadowed with like Beta and the parasite and like how that works and how you can circumvent how the rules work, right? What qualifies as like a participant in the story, right? Which links up to the fact that like we have Bomb, who's now technically a weapon, which means that he counts as an item, which means that we can circumvent summoning him, right? So I love that, and I love that we have all this like path that is talking about, right? Like choosing a path and how are you going to be guided forward and who are you going to let guide you and all of that, right? And that's not just by actually working with a guide, right? Like Bomb was, but it's also all of them kind of letting people choose who they're going to trust and put their kind of faith in, right? As they're going up the tower. And it might not necessarily be that like everybody is connected to like Bomb per se and like what that particular mission is, but they have like other connections surrounding that kind of directs their path along the same lines. So there's so many cool things in the story, and I feel like because the animation just couldn't have the impact that it needed, it just got lost. There were so many like stagnant things. There's so much like important information that just doesn't have the impact that it needs. Like even with like Wang-On at the end, that should have felt a lot more impact. And I feel like if we had seen more of kind of the chaotic energy of Beta like as a fighter and like his speed and like the energy of his fight, and seen a little bit more of that, like the impact to what he was doing. And I feel like there should have been like maybe a little bit of setup for that shot, because it feels very out of the blue and like cliffhangery and all of that, right? Whereas it feels like it has a little bit more impact in the webtoon, and I feel like that dampens a bunch of the cool parts of this story, right? Getting to see a bunch of the fighting and getting to have a bunch of these characters like interact. Like I was watching it, I don't feel the like kinetic energy of there's so much happening at once the way that I did when I was reading the webtoon, right? Like I feel like there's so much going on. There's just, you could hear it like ticking down the seconds because they're on like a bit of a time crunch and everything's sort of happening because we don't have time to deal with any of this in any way that isn't just like rushing forward. And I just feel like there's not as much of that feeling because there's so much like stagnant still shots. Like the shaky cam can only give you so much when it comes to the like animation not being there. So I feel like I don't know, you can put as much dramatic music as you want on it, and it doesn't actually make it more dramatic if you don't have the kind of impact of those fight scenes. But I don't know, and it's also because all the reveals I know about them, so that might also be part of it. But I don't know, I feel like it could have been really cool, and it just wasn't. I feel like some of the important information like didn't hit me the way that it was. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hopefully the following episodes are like a little bit more maybe interesting. Hopefully. I want to be hopeful that the last little bit is going to have a bit of a pick-me-up. But this was a little bit disheartening. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me next time I put Tower of God reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.